Cam, we just finished talking all about the peculiar reinvention of Harry Mudd that we experienced in Star Trek Discovery, going back from Star Trek TOS. Had a good podcast all about the needed course correction that this character had coming for him.
Yeah.
And it got us thinking a little bit about all the various conmen and conwomen that we've seen in Star Trek.
And just Con.
And just Con, Nooney, and Singh. I love it. But who for you kind of jumps out as kind of a go-to conman character, and what does it represent for you in the Star Trek universe?
Well, one that I think is interesting is Cyrano Jones from The Trouble with Tribbles, in that he's playing something of a Harry Mudd character only a year after Harry Mudd, and in the same season as Harry Mudd pops up in I, Mudd. And I like that they are doing a conman character who is kind of he's a little different. He doesn't have the menace of a Harry Mudd. He also doesn't have the grand ambitions.
Right.
He's just a guy who's scraping by, doing what he can, and he ultimately... Maybe he does more damage to the Federation than Harry Mudd ever does with his tribbles, and also to the Klingons by, extension.
That's fair enough. But it is interesting when we think about these conmen characters because, they're human characters that don't really abide by the rules that we all know of that Starfleet and those Federation ideals. They go against the grain. They are more kind of anarchists operating within this utopian society. I like the fact that we get to see the Federation portrayed as a non-monolithic organization every once in a while. And look, let's just be honest, there's going to be some bad apples in every society, and these are the ones that don't want to subscribe to all of these ideals here. One who pops out to me, though, is, I guess, Bashir's father on Deep Space Nine, though.
Right.
The guy could never hold down one sort of job, and he was always trying to get one over on people. You really got that sense from him.
Yeah.
Even when he's just very charming to say, Jadzia, for instance, loves him.
Right.
And I think it's interesting that, eventually he had to own up to his misdeeds. He goes to jail for this, genetic engineering escapade that he went on with his own son. And ultimately, he is redeemed, though. His son's career is saved by his own sacrifices. And this is not really a guy who seemed to be making a lot of sacrifices, throughout most of his life as kind of a lower-end sort of con man.
This guy doesn't strike me as, a really slick operator. He strikes me more as kind of the, Jack Lemmon in Glengarry Glen Ross type, where he's really, just, pleading, come on, go along with the con, please.
You got any leads? you got any leads for me? Yeah.
Another one that's interesting is, continuing on in the Berman era, is Rasmussen from TNG, who shows up posing as a guy from their time, but turns out to be from the past, and wants to steal their technology, and I believe data as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would steal data if it was Brent Spiner would stop that restraining order, but what can you do at this point? But
right.
Rasmussen is so interesting to me, though, because he comes from an era closer to where we are right now, and I wonder if he's more representative of humanity, pre-Federation ideals. And so it's interesting to see that dichotomy. And look, this is a guy, he's like, hey, I'm going to reverse engineer some stuff, make as much money as I can. He's not successful with that, but one who is, say, Ed Beagley Jr., his villainous character from the Voyager two-parter Future's End, though. Very successful with microchips, and he's got some other skills, too.
Yeah, the best microchip guy since Christopher Walken in View to a Kill. Another one that's really fun, I think, is the question of Lorca. Is Lorca a con man? I mean, he's a very dark character, which I think is interesting because a lot of the con men we've talked about are somewhat lighter characters. They appear in a lot of more comedic Star Trek episodes. Lorca is a character who pulls a major con against Starfleet and the crew of the Discovery, and almost takes over the mirror universe and destroys the galaxy.
I thought you were just referring to the fact that he put on that Scottish accent at one point when he jumped into the mirror universe.
Oh, that too, of course.
He conned the other ship into thinking he was a Scotsman engineer.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And I think, you mentioned off the top, female con men.
Yeah.
And...
otherwise known as con women.
That's true. Yeah. Con artists. And, there's one that really pops to mind for me, and it's not necessarily a female character, although it's portrayed by a woman, and that's Iman in...
How ironic.
I mean, yes, David Bowie's wife, the talented actress.
Iman, yeah.
Iman, yeah. In Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, who shows up as a shapeshifter.
Is it Iman or Imud? I don't know.
I don't know either. Yes, who really pulls one over on Kirk, where Kirk doesn't even know what's going on. Imagine if this character had gone onto the ship or something like that. What could have happened?
Oh, Cam, I think we're going to find out any day now. CBS All Access, they're giving spin-offs to everybody. I think Iman is up next, man.